You're all set.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bangor Region Chamber of Commerce Virtual HR Conference. We're really excited that you're here today. We've got a great event, great topics, great speakers lined up for you today, and we're grateful to their participation and all of the work that they've done to prepare their presentations for you. This event is sponsored by Bangor Payroll. Thank you, Bangor Payroll. We'll hear from them momentarily. I'm Deb Newman, President and CEO of the Bangor Region Chamber of Commerce, and I'm joined by Shelley Sund, who is our Director of Marketing and Events. Shelley will be taking your questions, sharing those questions with me. She's producing this behind the scenes, and I'm so grateful to all of the work she's put in to make sure that you have the links you need and the information you need. Brian Kotler is also joining us behind the scenes. He's our Director of Membership and Sales. And again, we thank you for joining us. Yesterday, Shelley emailed you the entire program with all of the links. If you've registered for all of the sessions, awesome. If you registered for one or two and now you're thinking, boy, that one looks really good, I think I'd like to stick around for that, you are welcome to do so. The way this works is each session has its own Zoom link. We will go through a session, then we will ask you to log out and then log into the link for the next session. If you have any questions, just Q&A through Zoom, and Shelley will take your questions and respond to those. Puritan Medical Products is going to be our keynote this morning, and I will introduce Kristy Rizzitello momentarily. But first, just a quick overview of all of the sessions. Today, we'll hear from Puritan. We're going to be talking about remote team management in the time of COVID, updating employee manuals and job descriptions for remote working. That's on my to-do list. Best practices for onboarding remote employees. And then tomorrow, we'll kick off with a keynote from David Pease with Bangor Savings Bank, talking about best practices to promote racial equity and social equity in the workplace, how to successfully lead your team through crisis, what you should know and consider when it comes to leave and the law, and successfully managing conflict and challenging conversations, especially in a remote work environment. So we've got a great program for you. And again, thank you for joining us. And I'd like to introduce our presenting sponsor, Bangor Payroll. TJ Herlihy and Jacqueline Silk join us. Welcome.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you for sponsoring this event and all of the support. I'll let you tell us about Bangor Payroll. I'm not sure who's taking it this morning, so I'll leave that up to you.
Wonderful. Well, really this morning, I'm just here to say that we're thrilled to be here and to be sponsoring this event. As Deb said, my name is Jacqueline Silk. I'm a regional market manager here at Bangor Savings Bank, and I'm joined by TJ Herlihy, who's a regional sales manager of Bangor Payroll. Bangor Payroll is a subsidiary of Bangor Savings Bank and offers full service payroll options. That includes time and attendance, HR services, and as part of Bangor Savings Bank, we are dedicated to providing support to our communities where we live and work. And this event is one of those events that really tie nicely into that. So really, Deb, thanks to you and your team for continuing to do this event, even in the most unique time. You've put together a dynamic and informative two-day program as we navigate through our new norm. And I know that our folks attending today will walk away with many takeaways. So enjoy. I know that you'll all have many things that you'll be bringing back to your workplace, and know at the end of the day that Bangor Savings Bank and Bangor Payroll, we're here for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that. And yeah, you're right. This is a new format for all of us. We've done this HR conference for many years, and usually we're in the Hilton Garden Inn and having a lovely breakfast with each other. But we had to do it, like the rest of us. We had to create a new way of delivering this conference this year, and we could not do it without your support. So thank you so much to Bangor Payroll, Jacqueline and TJ. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Puritan Medical Products, we're so excited to learn more about Puritan Medical. Puritan has ramped up their production and increased their workforce to meet the worldwide demand for their medical testing swabs as a result of COVID-19. And Kristy Rizzitello joins us. Kristy serves as the HR manager for Puritan's operation in Pittsfield. And a little bit about Kristy. prior to joining Puritan, she was the HR manager for CM Almy and the Equal Opportunity Assistant at the University of Maine in Orono. She's a graduate of Maine Maritime Academy. She's held various roles in HR, from HR assistant to recruiter and generalist, spending most of her career in manufacturing. And when she's not working, and she's working a lot these days, Kristy spends time with her family hiking, biking, and adventure racing. And I'd like to know more about that.
Yeah.
Puritan, I want to make sure I put out the website, puritanmedproducts.com. And with that, I'm very delighted to introduce you to Kristy Rizzitello. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm very excited to share our story over the last few months and answer any questions about that big over-looming question. How did you do it? We're still doing it, and it's been really fun over the last 6 months. But I have a series of slides to take us through. I wanted to be able to share some pictures that helps add to the story a little bit, and we'll take you right into that.
Let's do that. And if you have questions during the presentation, just put them in the Q&A, and if we have time, we'll get to those at the end of the presentation.
Right. So there's 3 major pieces to how we've done this. So the building, the machinery, and the people. So of course I come in really with the people aspect. I think everyone's aware of the situation that the world is in today. I'll give you a little bit of history of Puritan and the swabs that we make and how we came about to this point. But the building, of course, was the biggest piece. So our flagship location in Guilford, Maine, they've been producing products for over 100 years. And the pandemic hit, and the government said, okay, we need more, we need a lot more. So the location in Guilford is maxed out. Their space there's no more space. So the solution was a new plant, and I'll take you through a little bit of that. So partnering with Chimbro, a little bit of a quick synopsis of the summary of the situation. Partnering with Chimbro, they said, yep, we could do the building. And they did it in record time, which we'll talk about. So all of a sudden the building could be done. And the government said, okay, what about the machinery? There's no way you can get this machinery ready. The machinery to the products that we do here at Puritan is proprietary. And so we partnered with BIW, and they built the machines. And some of the machines were built at BIW, some were built in Massachusetts, finished here. All of a sudden the machinery could be done and was here. And they said, the government said, okay, this is great. What about people? So this is a story about the people, and I'll get into those slides, and we'll walk you through that process. So let's see, I tested this earlier. See if we can do it again. And I think it swapped on me again. How's that? Success?
Perfect.
Good, thank you. Thanks for the confirmation. Working with dual screens. So this is truly a story of partnership, and it has been a great story. So I'm going to introduce you to a little bit about more Puritan, KMA, the Maine Community Colleges Systems, Maine MEP, and our partners with Chimbro throughout this whole process. Jumping back to a little bit about the history of Puritan, in case you're not familiar, we started in 1919 as the Minto Toothpick Factory or company. We made one product, mint flavored toothpicks, with 10 employees. So it's been quite the advancements over the last 100 years to get to here. We branched off from the wood products business around 1965 and made our first tipped applicator, as you can see in the picture. And that advanced to becoming registered as a medical device manufacturer in 1975 and receiving ISO certifications in around 1995 through 1998. We still make hardwood products. So Hardwood and Puritan is the same organization. Puritan's the medical device side. Hardwood continues today to make toothpicks and tongue depressors and flavored wood products as well. This jumps us to present day. So who knew you could have 1,200 different unique items of medical swabs? But we do. We make 65 different types of swabs. We produce 12 million swabs per day, over 5 billion in a year. That number is only going to increase as this plant is ramping up production, and we have another plant that's going to come online as well. Little known secret, we're the #2 shipper of boxes out of the state of Maine. I think we are just right behind LL Bean. So small little sleepy Guilford has been producing some product and doing some major work over the last few years. We serve multiple industries, not just the medical. That is certainly on the forefront of everybody's mind and concern, and in today's 2020 situation. But we have customers in many, many, many areas for the industries. So the solution to this challenge of production was a new facility, a new factory. This is the UTC manufacturing facility in Pittsfield. This is where we are today, but this is the before picture. And I wanted to show you this because there's some important pieces. Chimbro partnered with us and they took on this massive project. This is over 100,000 square feet. Many pieces to this building. A lot of advancements needed to be added. Again, we're a medical device company. We maintain a very clean environment. So there are significant projects that went into this, just about 60 days. And I'll talk about that in a minute as well. So this is the before. This plant is a foam plant. We are located in Pittsfield on Main Street. And I'm clarifying that because the next plant is about a quarter mile up the road, which we'll talk about after. So rapid transformation took place. On the bottom left picture, one day I walked through here, and as I approached from the road, I could see the river out back. So they said, yes, we'll be good in 3 weeks. You guys will move in 3 weeks. And I looked at the director of operations and we said, okay, we'll do this. And all of our trust was in them, but they absolutely nailed it. They had, I think, over 100 employees, 3 shifts, almost 7 days a week. I believe some Sundays they needed to rest as well. But from floor to ceiling, it was an amazing transformation. Some of the finished products. So our front lobby area, the doors that are closed on the kind of the darkened windows, that is the new training facility as well. So we do have a 2,800 square feet of training space for all our new employees, which has been valuable space as we've been launching and hiring and onboarding 60 plus a week sometimes at the height of some of this. So new entryway by the big P in the upper left-hand side as well. It was really nice to hear from some former UTC or Edwards employees who worked in the building. When they would come in, you would hear, this looks so different, this looks amazing, and it's nice to see some, this building being used again, and the town has been wonderful and welcomed us. So it's been a great couple months. So officially, this was completed in record time. So this is the after. And the site work began April 15th, and the factory was completed on July 1st. So just over 60 days. So it was an amazing process to watch. I really like this picture for a lot of reasons, comparing it to the before. You can see obviously a lot of greenery in the back was removed for proper parking. We actually don't have enough parking in the front, so they created parking down the backside as well. Because we are a medical device company, we have air exchange units. So those big monstrous pieces on the roof that you can see in this picture are air exchangers. Multiple times per hour, the full room of over 40,000 square feet of air is exchanged to eliminate any contaminants. And I like this as well because you can see the school bus. So part of this process, it certainly hasn't been a straightforward process at all, but part of the process was we turned the building over to us July 1st. We moved in about a week, and we started production around the 6th or the 7th, but construction was still ongoing. So our warehouse was not available to us. Parking was not always available to us. We had tractor trailer trucks coming in and out of here. So we were busing employees from the other location about a quarter mile up the road. So we had offsite parking. We had logistics of getting people on and off buses. Coordination was just, it was a little challenging. We worked through a few bumps, to say the least. Patience was definitely tested on some elements, but it all worked out in the end. So that bus is an important piece to this picture because, again, not everybody was parking here, and that actually went on for about 3 months. So we managed to get all that organized as well. So what did this mean? What did it all come down to for the community? So obviously engineering, construction, design work was a huge piece to this. Building and groundwork goes without saying, you just saw in the last picture. The machinery. So 30 sterile wrap machines and 37 foam tipping machines. So I'll explain those a little bit. Foam tipping in the front of this picture is where we make our tips, where we make the actual product, the foam tipped applicators. The sterile wrap machines is where the product is wrapped individually. So if anyone's likely been to a medical facility, they've probably seen one of our swabs and didn't even realize it. They're paper. They're wrapped in an individual paper application. So it's like peeling it down like a cheese stick, if you will. And the swab is there. Those are made right in Guilford and now right in Pittsfield. New to this organization is the 6 high-speed multi-vac packaging machines. They're installed, they're being tested and started up as we speak. Those high-speed multi-vac packaging machines are going to increase our production significantly, and I'll talk about that in a few slides. So with the 30 sterile wrap machines and the 37 foam tipping machines, the goal was 10 million swabs a week. And again, that's 10 million swabs a week. Adding in these multi-vac, 6 multi-vac high-speed packaging, that's going to increase our capacity up to 12.5 million a week. So we'll get into that a little bit more, but just to give you the scope of what we're producing here currently, as we ramp up, we're between 7 and 8 million a week. So our goal is over 10. So we're making 1 swab at this facility. It's a foam tip applicator. Remember, we do make over 1,200 different styles at the Guilford location as well. So this could not have happened without this partnership with Chimbro, with KMA, Maine Community Colleges. Maine MEP has been leading our onboarding, and there are trainers. Work Health, right here in town in Maine General. We do have a pre-employment process with COVID testing and pre-employment physicals. So we needed to coordinate all of these individuals that we're interviewing, we're making offers to, and how do we get them through the pre-employment process and cleared properly before they can start. So this is a little bit of the timeline. Remember, the building was done in about 60 days. So prior to this, about the discussions with the Maine Community College system started around May 1st to create a training program for onboarding employees in the Pittsfield factory. We had experienced and seasoned employees in Guilford, but we couldn't take all those employees to Pittsfield. In fact, we only had about 20 to 30 who came here, some temporarily and some permanently. But we needed to have a strong onboarding program to ensure the success of these individuals. We hired full-time positions, full benefit positions. These aren't temporary roles at all. We're looking for longevity, and we'd like to be here for a while. We'd like our employees to be here for a while. So around May 1st, they started creating this training program. We provided job descriptions, details of what we kind of wanted for the onboarding program around May 6th. And at the suggestion of the Maine Community College, we were connected with Maine MEP Group, and they created the curriculum, development right around May 19th. So pretty quick. I mean, we're talking week here. Robert Miller is the director of operations for this facility. He is a longstanding Puritan employee, has 32 years of experience, and has done pretty much every role at the facility. So when I was made aware that I was going to be partnering with him, I was more than confident. He has the experience and the knowledge of the product and the manufacturing process specific to this organization. I know HR, I could handle all those pieces. So it's been a great partnership with him. And he and I joined forces on June 1st. So I officially started with Puritan on June 1st. We all created a 16-hour onboarding and logistics program. And the program was completed June 3rd. We had about a month to get familiar with it, not even that so much. And we held our first training on July 1st of 2020. So what did it look like? What are those numbers, and what's so interesting about all of this? So here's a little bit of a breakdown. So in June, we hired 40 employees. In July, you can see right there, that was a huge month for us, 129. August, September, you can see the numbers. So we averaged about 58 employees of hiring per month. So on the flip side, how do we get them here? In July, we started onboarding and training. So we managed to get to onboard 140 employees. And then through August, September, October, and November, we're on target for about another 80. So if you look September and October, you kind of say, well, what happened in September or October? Why did those numbers kind of cut in half all of a sudden? Did you have pipeline issues where you're kind of in a rural area where you're running out of employees? No, the answer is no, not even close. So that's a really good thing. What we realized in September and October was that our flagship location, which has over 500 employees, their staffing was reduced. People had left, or people had retired, or they were losing just because of other because of COVID or family things, multitude of reasons. So we actually shared our onboarding here, and we were hiring for Guilford as well. Or onboarding for Guilford. So Guilford would be doing interviews. The KMA team assisted with that group as well. There is a small HR staff there as well. And we actually split our classes. So instead of doing 20, we would have 10, or 20 total, 10 for Guilford, 10 for Pittsfield. So for 2 months, we really tried to integrate both locations, and we found a lot of positives from that as well. For one company, we happen to be 35 miles from each other in 2 locations, but this is the next group of individuals that we want to have connections in a strong culture connection with them. So we had some nice interactions between the Pittsfield and the Guilford employees, and they were creating nice bonds. The ramp has continued in November. We needed to kind of finish this big giant push for here, get these multi-vac machines up and running, and get our employees onboarded and trained. So we are ramping up our numbers in November and December. And as everybody knows, you have 2 holiday weeks in those months. So these are pretty significant classes. We've actually increased safely, of course, with social distancing, all the safety requirements that we need to do for our classes, from 20 to 30. We have the potential to go to 50, but we want to make sure that we find that nice balance of a successful onboarding program for the employees with not flooding the manufacturing floor, in addition to our trainers being able to successfully deliver the information so that everybody has a nice positive experience through the onboarding program. So I had to put in some fun facts here, because we can talk numbers and stats and all these other things, but what you probably want to hear the good stuff, like what got crazy and what was insane. And all of these numbers sound great, but there's some bumps behind it. We laugh in absence of some tears sometimes, and on the HR side. So how did we do it? So some of the fun things we did: we had interview teams. We really focused on our top management level at the very beginning in June, and hence the 40 employees, if you will. And those employees we trained and we coached very quickly to do a lot of the hiring for the operator levels. So we had 2 to 4 to 6 people sometimes interviewing. We would take and break up into groups. When we realized that wasn't enough, we quickly went to a Saturday hiring platform. We did 5 hours of interviewing, pre-scheduled and walk-ins. And the last Saturday hiring event we were able to hire 48 people in 5 hours. We had 4 or 5 pending offers out there, so the number could be and was over roughly 50. We actually had to turn away 22 people at the end of the day who were walk-ins, where we ran out of time and we ran out of energy that day. We were exhausted. So the pipeline is strong with KMA's success for reaching out to employees and all of their networking. That's been the easy part. I say it's been the easy part, but I'm sure KMA and some of our representatives who are with us today would say it's been a lot of hard work as well. Space and logistics. So yes, remember, there's a pandemic going on. We're doing all of this during one of the most difficult and challenging times because there's so many unknowns. If somebody showed up a little not feeling well in the past, you had a runny nose, a little tiny bit of a fever, we'd say, oh, you got a little bit of a bug or a flu, but now we're really sensitive to all those things, as we should be. So space, we partnered with Chimbro in the very beginning. Remember, this building was under construction, so we didn't have our training room. We didn't have large amounts of space to meet with people. So Chimbro up the road provided us space, and we used multiple offices. This summer, we partnered with MCI right in the town of Pittsfield, and they opened up a top floor of one of their buildings, and we were able to use 2 to 4 classrooms to spread people out, and we had multiple training sessions held at the MCI campus. Space and logistics is still probably one of our #1 challenges right now, even though we have this great training center that's now available to us for 2,800 square feet. We're now trying to onboard, and we're trying to interview, and we're trying to train, and we're trying to have meetings. So we're still trying to produce and have business run. So space and logistics, there's just never enough space. Benefit eligibility. I put this one in there because this is actually the face that my HR generalist made when we were onboarding ourselves. So we started here in June, myself and my HR generalist, and you're taking in everything as well. You're not only learning what this program is all about for this organization, but you're the one that's going to be describing it to everybody else. So we hired, as you can see, 40 employees in June, 129 employees in July. Medical benefits for this organization, it's a very strong, rich program, and employees are eligible after 30 days of employment and then first of the month. So you could do the math real quick and you could see how many people were quickly becoming eligible for medical, dental, vision, 401k, company match, some other options. There's a 90-day waiting period. So come about September, again, I think she made this exact same face thinking, okay. Tied to that is the fact that we work with ADP services or ADP Workforce Now. And Joanne, my HR generalist, and I were tasked with advancing the practices with ADP. What else can we do? We need to significantly increase our services with this organization. And we had an old platform where we're transitioning to a newer platform to be able to manage appropriately the masses of employees that we're hiring. And that implementation is taking a lot longer than we expected. So this benefit eligibility program and logging people in, it's manual. It is keying on multiple platforms, not just ADP, but in the vendor portals. So she's been a rock star, I have to say. I've been going to her saying, how can I help you? She's taken that on, and we're managing that, but we're a team of 2.5. We're hiring, shameless plug right here. So we're still hiring. So that in itself has just been one of those pieces in the background, that the hiring and the onboarding and all of those other factors. But as HR folks, we know there's other pieces that roll into this. So we've been managing this on the side. As a government contract, we had to initiate E-Verify. We needed to look at affirmative action. So all of these reporting pieces and some compliance pieces needed to be managed as well. So Joanne and I are handling those as well. And then P3. So we are known as P2 in Puritan, which is Plant 2. P3 is under construction. They are going to be a flock plant. So I am a foam plant, or this facility is a foam plant. And P3 is a flock plant. It's a different foam tip. It's a different product, if you will. And they don't have staff yet. They have a director of operations. So Joanne and I are helping the director hire and build his staff. That way, again, reliving all of this stuff from June. When is the machinery coming? How is the building coming along? When is the appropriate hiring for all of this going to happen? These are pictures from MCI from this summer. And I wanted to share these because they're, a great example of the MEP crew that has stepped up and worked with some great interactive programs. So we gave MEP kind of an outline of what we were looking for and what we felt were some of the most critical pieces to ensure our employees who have never seen this machinery before, 90% of them hadn't, to come in on the first day on the manufacturing floor and feel comfortable. So you can see they've created, or in these pictures, you can see they've done interactive projects. They were doing some specifically in the lower right-hand corner. You can see one of the boxes, and on the label, they have a whole module built around how do you understand the label and the packaging, because we're FDA regulated. Every operator has an operator number. We have to be able to trace back if there was ever any concerns with any of the products back to the machine to ensure that we can fix any problems that may arise for anything that's out of compliance or out of quality standards. So employees for these 2 days learn gowning, they learn safety, they learn Puritan history, they learn, we do some math, understanding cases and production, they learn what the paperwork is, how important all of that is, and we set them with the tools before they step on the manufacturing floor. And once they are on the manufacturing floor or within the facility, they have an orientation on site with their manager. They have, they're mentored, they have a lead trainer, they're partnered, and we ensure that they always have somebody to reach out to so that they're not feeling like they're lost out on the production floor. So these are some of the wonderful people that I've had such a great opportunity to work with from the KMA team. And Janice, actually, one of the speakers from tomorrow. So we've been working with her from the very beginning as well. So what did all this wrap up as? So with a substantial grant from the Maine Community College system, we've been successful with over 350 new employees and completing a 16-hour training course. So 2 days, 8-hour class before they even come on site. We wanted to ensure that the employees were prepared for the rest of the on-the-job training, that they were successful, and that we had them here for a long time. Some really nice facts about our payroll impact to the community. We are going to be, from skilled manufacturing employees, the impact is over $250,000 a week in payroll. We're developing qualified and well-trained employees. That's a huge piece to this. We want to we want them to rise up. We want them to be strong candidates and stay in Maine. COVID production. So total COVID swab production from 2019 to 2020 is up 315%. That number is even going to go up more because of the next plant. So this has been an amazing opportunity for Puritan. So I talked about the onboarding and the hiring and the production, and I wanted to relate it to production for everybody as well. So this has been some of the goals that we've been working toward. This is actual numbers. So tipped, again, is where we make the swabs, and wrapping is where we package them. And this specifically is just dealing with our traditional equipment and our tipping and wrapping. This doesn't include these numbers that you see on the chart, don't include the multi-vac, because the multi-vac high-speed wrapping machines are not fully functional right now. But the note on the bottom includes the multi-vac. So the goal is 90 million swabs a month here. And that's 22.5 million a week. So a combination of our traditional equipment and our high-speed equipment. 90 million swabs a month. So we're going to have some trucks coming in and out of here, to say the least. We are roughly between 7 and 8 million currently, and that's approaching the 10 million with our traditional equipment that we're looking to hit. So it's been pretty successful. We like to think it's been very successful, and we're excited to get these new 6 multi-vac lines up and running. One swab at a time. That's our story. Because it is, when I say 90 million, that's a big number. Mm-hmm. But it's one swab at a time. So I'm open for questions, and I can reference back any slides, and thank you.
Oh, thank you, Kristy. This was so interesting. And I apologize. I'm getting the morning glow. If you're not familiar with the Bangor Chamber office, we're in a beautiful big old building in downtown Bangor with no shades or window coverings. So, we roll with that. I really appreciate this, and I'm sure everybody joining us has learned so much. We did have a question, which I think is a great question. Mm-hmm. And you may have covered this, but clearly you've had to ramp up production due to COVID. Which is one of those double-edged swords, right?
Yes.
Swab production being up 315%, and you've had to ramp up your workforce as a result. The question is, when we finally reach the other side of the pandemic, what are you anticipating happening in terms of demand for your products?
It's a great question. And actually, it's one of the questions that a lot of the employees ask during the interview. What is your longevity here? And what does that look like on the other side of the pandemic? Valid questions. So from what we understand, one, for production, we're nowhere near meeting and all of these needs. So we're making swabs for the US right now. Prior to COVID, we were serving 58 countries and plus. We're not serving those other customers right now. We are making product for our needs in the United States. So we have private customers knocking on our door saying, when can I get my stuff? So the need is beyond even the time frame that I can predict right now. So there's no concern over, mass layoffs in the near future or even in the next 5 to 6 years. It's not even on the horizon. We're scratching the surface. If we stopped taking orders today, it's been described to me that we wouldn't even meet the need. We wouldn't be able to fill that need for many months to come, if not a year or two. So the demand for the product is literally off the charts. You're talking about 90 million swabs a month. It's a significant number, and that's out of this facility. Remember, there's a flagship location in Guilford still producing swabs, and there's another plant going online, hopefully by April, if not sooner. And who knows after that. So we're very comforting to say that the production demand is endless. I know that's not necessarily a solid answer for employees, but we're not planning to go anywhere. There's been a significant investment by the US government and by the local communities, by our members here. We're dedicated to making this continue. The need for, I guess what's unknown is a bit about the future and testing. I think I will safely say, don't go on the record, but I will safely say I think we're seeing a change in our world going forward, where we used to just travel internationally in the US. And now today you have to have a test and prove you're negative before you can go in and out of the country. I don't want to say that's going to become the normal because I don't know that, but that's certainly what I've been hearing, reading, paying attention to. I think testing is going to become part of our regular world. And that's just not for our medical purposes. I think that's in all areas. And who knows what's next if the flu ramps its ugly head in various ways. Are we going to have to test it in different aspects? So the testing world, I think we're just scratching the surface of what's going to be in our future.
I have to unmute. How has retention of the new hires been, given many are newly trained and maybe entering a new field?
Great. It's actually been very positive. We're working very hard, and I truly believe that comes down to the management team and the culture that we want to have here. From the very beginning, during the interviews, I've talked to a lot of the interviewees and said, we will train you. We will train you on our production and on our machinery and on our rules and our procedures. But what I can't train people on is positivity. I can encourage, but I'm looking for positivity. I'm looking for team members who want to rise up, who want to help out, who want to grow. And I've talked about that in every single interview because that is the culture that we really are looking for here. And it's been a really positive turn for that. So when we've had tours, one of the first things that people tell us is that your employees are smiling and they say hi and they engage. And I'm happy to hear that because that's what we want. We're hiring people, we're hiring humans. We all have different, quirks and ways, but we'll teach them and we'll show them the production and we'll rise them up through that. And they'll bring their technical skills and we'll hone those in for our machinery. But the positive attitudes and a positive outlook is really what I was looking for in team members. So retention has been excellent, I would say. There's always room for improvement. It hasn't been a problem as far as we've needed to revamp or reconstruct any of our processes, realizing we kind of missed anything. We've been very lucky.
And you may have touched on this, but I'm curious, how many employees, you may not have the number, but have come from other careers, perhaps were former workers in the paper industry, for example, or were retired and decided to go back to work. And then what's the proportion of people just coming out of school, young people?
I'm going to give rough numbers because I don't have it exactly. I'm going to say we're going to go a third. And what I mean by that is that I see more older generation than I necessarily right out of school. So we do have some younger generations as well, first jobs, or I've only worked, a couple different places, part-time work. So they were really looking for a full-time opportunity. A third definitely are long-standing employees of other organizations across the state, from Bangor to Waterville to Skowhegan, who, to no fault of their own, lost their job or were unemployed because of the pandemic. So themselves and their spouse. So we were happy to hire husband and wife teams or couples who wanted to work on the same shift, and we could offer that. We had that opportunity. So that added to the quality of their life, and it's been a success all around.
And what about, do you have a lot of commuters? Do you have people who are relocating to the area to work for you? And how has that impacted just that housing availability?
Mm-hmm. So if anyone's not familiar, Pittsfield is a wonderful community. Small, I would say, individual homes. I don't think the rental market is significant here at all. So I haven't seen an influx of people moving to the area. For the most part, people are commuting. I think for Maine, we're used to, I drive 60 minutes or I drive 45 minutes or even longer. I think that's pretty common, actually. So we've noticed that, or what we're seeing is that the employees for this location are coming from the Waterville, Fairfield area. Skowhegan kind of wraps around that whole corridor up to Athens into Dexter, because Dexter again starts to pull north to the Guilford location, and then south from Dexter into Newport. What I haven't seen is a significant influx of individuals coming from kind of the southeast area down into Unity. I think once you get down into the coastal areas, some of those businesses on the boat building, and they're doing well. So I haven't seen a lot of employees coming from there. But Bangor, all the way down through Dexter, up to Skowhegan, wrapped into Waterville, and south a little bit. So
another question came in. What are the most common skills gaps you're finding that you need to train for?
Mm-hmm. So one of the greatest needs that we have is the technical aspect. So we will train on some of the proprietary information, because we have obviously no expectations that employees would have seen this type of equipment before. But if they have a mechanical aptitude, they have prior knowledge of automotive and small motors, we're seeing an easy adaptation to some of the needs that we have on some of our traditional equipment. What's new to us is our multi-vac lines. So they're German equipment. We had them flown over here. You're talking pneumatics and electronics. There's electricity diagrams. There's mechanical additions from our traditional line of our tippings added on. So many pieces to this. So we are actually talking with the Maine Community College system at this time as well about creating programs to specifically train for this technology that we're really looking to advance to. So these 6 multi-vacs that are here, we are also looking to have, don't quote me, I believe it's 10 up the road. So we're increasing that need, but it's really specialized. No, this is brand new to us. So 4 weeks ago, they landed here and we're learning alongside of our employees. So how do we create a successful program on that highly skilled technical side for individuals for longstanding employment?
If you have questions, by the way, for Kristy Rizzitello, as we're talking about Puritan medical products, we have a few minutes left, so we'd love to hear your questions and what you're interested in learning more about. Can you speak to how you had to adjust your production, your facility as a result of COVID?
Yes, so that's the one piece that's looming over us all the time is, how do you do this in the middle of a pandemic? So from the very beginning, we've been mask mandated inside the facility. We provide the medical grade masks for all of our employees. So in our production floor, I mentioned before in the presentation, we have multiple air exchangers, and that's in the training space in addition to the manufacturing space. And the purpose is really to reduce contaminants, but it has a double use at this point for cleaning the air and exchanging the air. So we are fully gowned, gloved, masked, hairnetted, booties. It's full safety gear, if you will, on the manufacturing floor. We've asked, the only time employees are not masked or when they're just eating their lunches or drinking in the cafeteria. We do temperature checks upon arrival every day. So we're all brand new. Everybody knows we don't fall into any of the FML guidelines that you can have for employees. This organization traditionally didn't necessarily have a personal leave of absence policy. So all of a sudden we're looking at all these options going, we potentially would have somebody arriving to work ill or experiencing symptoms, and we don't want them here. We want them to make sure that they are safe and they are healthy. So I would say we've certainly been very relaxed and reasonable in our accommodations for, I'm not feeling well, I need to stay home, or I potentially have been exposed. So we've basically excused all of those things. We don't want to terminate anybody. We want them here healthy. We want them here for the long term. So the short term response to that is absolutely stay home, rest, get hydrated, seek medical guidance. If we have had concerns here, we are able to share our resources with the local work health clinic right in town. Dr. Elizabeth Ross is at that facility. She has stepped right up and partnered with us. If we have concerns, I call her right away. During our pre-employment process, Maine General has been on site with us doing physicals and COVID screenings, right then and there. So we've been able to manage that process right from the very beginning. So we continue to be aware, share with employees, it's okay, stay home. We know you're new, we're all new. We'll get through this together. We're now really experiencing the calls where an employee says, my sister or my sibling, or I had direct contact. It's up until about 2 weeks ago, it's been, I may have been exposed, or I'm not sure, or I don't feel well. Now we're seeing I had direct contact with a positive case. So that it's a little concerning. I think everybody's probably feeling those concerns. So we're being even more careful to say, okay, no problem. We understand, stay home, stay in touch with us, seek medical attention with your personal physician, or call the COVID hotline and let us know. And we've asking for employees to provide negative test results before they return to work. And everybody's been more than happy to do that.
Well, thank you for that. And you're correct. We're all seeing more and more of that, unfortunately.
Yes.
You are hiring. I would guarantee you that one of you who's watching right now is thinking, I think I want to go work for Puritan Medical Products.
You do. We're excellent.
I can tell you. So is it best to just start with the website?
Yes, with the website, or right to KMA's website as well. So if you search down KMA's job postings, all of the Puritan postings are there as well. For this group in particular, the next plant, we're going to be looking to hire HR staff as well. If you have interest, give me a call. Let's talk about it. We're going to look for an HR manager there. You're going to have over 350 employees. So the structure that we're looking to create is very similar to here as well. So and generalists, we'll need all of those experiences over there.
Oh, and Debbie from KMA HR just chimed in. She said, you can email us.
Yes, exactly.
Info at kmahr.com. And the website for Puritan is puritanmedproducts.com.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Kristy Rizzitello. This was so great and informative.
Thank you.
We could not have asked for a better keynote to kick off our HR conference today. So we really appreciate your time. And if anybody has any question, let me see. Oh, wait, something's coming in. I know we have to wrap up, but
okay.
Oh, awesome job. Oh, you're getting all sorts of kudos. So
thanks.
share those with us. So any final words before we wrap up this morning?
I'm thankful for this opportunity. I really appreciated, actually. The invite scared me, a lot. And then it gave me a chance to actually reflect, which we're in the grind every day. And this, over the last couple of weeks, or whatever it was, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, I was able to kind of put this together and reflect and realize, okay, this has been great over the last 6 months. We've done great things, and we have wonderful people working here. And I look forward to finding all these next wonderful people to elevate this organization even more.
Well, thank you. And again, we're getting messages from attendees who are really appreciating your presentation this morning, and we appreciate your time. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And with that, we will take a break, and we will come back on at 9 o'clock. And our next session is remote team management in the time of COVID-19. How do you manage others in a virtual world? We could all use some help with that. That will be presented by David Green and Ginger Ward Green of the Ward Green Group, with Terry Swanson of Swanson Consulting Services. You'll have to get out of this link and rejoin us at 9 a.m. using the link for that session. And again, thank you so much to Bangor Payroll, a division of Bangor Savings Bank, for being our sponsor of the Bangor Region Chamber of Commerce HR Virtual Conference 2020. So thank you again, Kristy, and the entire team at Puritan for your presentation this morning. With that, we'll leave you and we'll see you back here at 9 o'clock.